Hi, this is Amanda from Tailored Transformations, and I'd like to welcome you to our launch event taking place over this weekend. We've got lots of exciting things coming up for you, the first of which is some interviews with some of our customers. We've asked them about their wellbeing journey, what they've done so far, what they can recommend, and what's in their wellbeing toolkits. So please check it out and see if there's any ideas that you can take on board. I hope you enjoy. So hi guys, this is Amanda from Tailored Transformations, and I've got the lovely Susan Stewart here with me today, and she's just going to answer some questions about her wellbeing toolkit and what she does. So just to start, if you want to introduce yourself and just tell me how you came about Tailored Transformations and how you came about using it.
Well, I'm Susan and I work for the same company as Amanda, and she advertised, it was a couple of years ago, um, her hypnotherapy sessions and asking for people to volunteer. So I'd never had hypnotherapy before. I didn't really know anything about it. So I approached Amanda and said I'd be happy to be her guinea pig. And then we went ahead and I had a couple of hypnotherapy sessions with Amanda.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. So what does wellbeing mean to you then?
Well-being to me means taking care of yourself physically and mentally.
And can you tell me a little bit about your wellbeing journey so far?
Well, I would say when I was much younger, I didn't really think about well-being at all. It just, didn't enter into my mind. But when I was in my 20s, I did go through a period of anxiety. I think nowadays we call it generalized anxiety disorder for a couple of months, where and I didn't even know what anxiety was. And even after that time, where I did address that situation and change some things. For example, I was in quite a stressful job. Some difficult things had happened. My dog had just died, actually, which was one thing that kind of tipped me over the edge. I was living abroad on my own. Nobody else spoke English around me. It was quite difficult looking back, and I was quite young. There's a lot of stresses on me. But I don't think I ever even then really thought about what could do to protect myself from ever experiencing this again going forward, apart from maybe avoiding situations that I thought would possibly be stressful. But I think in the last, I'd say, 15 years, I have started, I think it is much more in people's consciousness nowadays, and we talk about things a lot more openly. It got me thinking about what can I do to kind of mitigate against feeling anxious or in low mood. And I initially started off by running. So I did a lot of physical, I started, well, I didn't just start running. I went from walking to walking a lamppost, running a lamppost. I built up over quite a long period of time to running. I don't want to make it sound like it was easy, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
But what I found was it was amazing I started off doing that mainly for physical health, but then realised actually this is much, more improving my mental health than my physical health, because I would feel so boosted afterwards and so uplifted, even though sometimes I must admit I didn't really want to go running in the first place. So I did embrace the Nike slogan, just do it, just put your shoes on and go. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Don't ask yourself if you want to do it, because the answer is always no to anything that relates to physical exercise, I find. So I would do a lot like walking or running in nature, and the benefits of that I think are twofold. So there's the running and the serotonin and everything, and burning off the adrenaline on a physical level, but also just being in nature, and it felt very playful. It felt like when I was a child and I would like go playing out, running through fields, and you would notice all beautiful things going on around you. You know, like I would always stop and look at, oh, these flowers are out, or oh gosh, I just heard the first cuckoo. You know, probably before that I never heard anything like
Yeah.
a cuckoo, or woodpeckers, for example, or you come across farm animals. So, for example, some runs that I go on, I might come across a pig, a llama. There's some llamas in a field not far from Castle Hill that I sometimes run through. So, you know, that connection to nature, to just being outside, whatever the weather, whether it's raining,
Yeah.
muddy, whatever, and embracing it. I think I used to think this is a bit like life. You know, sometimes it's really difficult running. It's muddy, it's raining, it's cold. It doesn't feel very good.
Yeah.
But other times you kind of get in your stride and things are going along quite nicely, or the sun's out, and then that can be like life. You know, sometimes there's good times and bad times and difficult times, but we get through them in the end usually. So that's one thing that I really like about running. Can you repeat the question again? I've forgotten the question.
Yeah. It's just telling us a bit about your well-being journey so far.
So then I think I've kind of grown um, things around that, because then I started thinking, right, I'm going to go to the gym. So now I go to the gym and do other things
Yeah.
at the gym. So particularly I'm attracted to the ones that burn off energy. So I like the aerobic stuff. I like body pump. I like spin classes
Yeah.
because, and I love the music.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the music. So the music often as well keeps me going at the gym. So sometimes I think even the words of the songs can make me sort of smile. So even if I feel a bit low and I go to the gym, usually there's a couple of people there that you'll have a nod to. And some gym classes, one gym class that I go to, there's a guy there who's always really cheerful and quite funny, and he says that joke. You always feel better for going. And I remember
Hmm.
one of the trainers saying, you never ever say, I wished I hadn't gone to the gym today, but you often think, I wished I had gone. And I think that's for exercise generally.
Yeah.
But another thing that I think has always been part of my well-being journey, if I'm thinking about it now, is, and that goes back even when I was living abroad and even as a child, is that I have always been had a spiritual interest. So I would say now that I'm a Christian, but I do also go, and I know this might sound strange, to Buddhist meditation, but there is a great link between Buddha's teachings and Christ's teachings. And I find thinking about being part of something much bigger
Yeah.
than what we can see and hear and feel and touch um, is also very good for well-being, because I think it puts things in perspective. So if and for some people, I think that feeling of, it could be God, it could be Buddha, it could be just feeling that you're part of something bigger in the universe.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody has that interest in faith or things like that. But I do find that that's always been a massive help to me, if you like. Um, so that is a toolkit that I've always a tool in my toolkit that I've always had. Um, and more recently, um, I'd say in the last maybe 8, 9 years, I've got in. I do meditation at the Buddhist Centre,
Yeah.
but I also we meditate at church, for example. That's part of the Christian faith as well. But also, I have a meditation app on my phone. I've got
Oh,
the
yeah.
Calm app on my phone, and that's brilliant. I mean, that's brilliant for if you're feeling anxious and you need something right there and then. So I
Yeah.
once used it on a train to Leeds where it was very busy, very crowded. I felt quite panicky, and I remember just looking for the app that there was a meditation on the app just for being on public transport,
Oh,
or
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That they have specific. meditations for different things. So some about, for example, work stress, some about little courses, some about anxiety, a quick wind down from an anxious state, one that you could just do very quickly.
Yeah,
Um, and then every day there's a daily movement, there's a daily teaching, a wisdom teaching, there's a daily positive thought. So I use those,
fantastic.
and those are really helpful because if you do them in the morning, it gives you something to go back to and it sets you up right for the day, I think. So I always think it's quite important for me to do that in the morning before I face the day.
Oh, definitely.
Possibly also if you can end the day on a good thought, or with gratitude. Um,
Definitely, yeah. That's beginning and the end of the day, the two best times to do anything because it's when your brain's most receptive
mm,
to picking anything up. So starting on a positive note and ending it on the same is a really good idea.
mm.
So is there anything else you've got in your wellbeing toolkit apart from what you've mentioned already?
Yeah, I mean, I love massages. So a massage is really good, and I think some of that is actually the touching from some. I don't
Yeah,
mean that in a funny way, but I think just receiving touch from somebody else, or even yourself. Because I know some of the well, I'll mention that in a minute as well. That's yoga. Talk about actually touching yourself in certain places, which is very soothing.
mm,
And so I find massage is very soothing because it's actually de-stressing the tension in your physical body, which
yeah.
also impacts your mental health.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's built in from us from being a child, isn't it? If you think whenever you're comforting a child or when you were comforted as a child, it's that rub on the back, that that pat, that physical touch, and it's sort of inbuilt in us from such a young age that it makes such a difference.
we probably get less and less of that as we get older, don't we? So we
Yeah,
have to.
definitely.
I mean, it's sad, but we have to kind of pay for that now. So I do tend to have, if I can, a massage once a month, and I quite like a pretty tough massage actually. But
Yeah,
that's always very helpful and very calming, I think. I always feel, very relaxed afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, and the other thing, well, I'm not attracted to doing relaxing, stretching type movements, although I know that actually I should have that in as part of my routine because when you're doing things like spin or pump, you actually do need to de-stress your muscles as well or to stretch them out and
yeah,
stuff. I'm not very good at that. But yoga and Pilates are very relaxing. There's something about focusing on your physical movement that's very grounding, I think, as well.
absolutely.
It gets you back in your body, doesn't it, rather than away with your thoughts.
Yeah,
Um,
that present moment, isn't it?
yeah, being in that moment. And during the Christmas period just gone, I've had a period of quite high anxiety, where I was really, really troubled with anxiety again. Not to the point of panic attacks again, but feeling very, very stressed. And it was a situation that was going on about doing a house up for my sister who lives in the States, which got out of hand really. Anyway, I was desperately looking for things that would help me in the moment, and I discovered, just looking online, yoga for anxiety and stress, and I found it so helpful because that was combining breathing with some particular body postures and moves that really really
Yeah,
help. Um, and that was and going to the gym, of course, was good as well, and all the other things that I do. But I was doing that yoga for anxiety and stress, and it's free online for 5-10 minutes. I was doing that morning as often as I could, and
yeah,
and it was one of the few things that kind of gave me a real instant, relief from the internal pressure, if you like.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I don't do yoga myself, but I have read up about it, and it's one of the things I'd like to learn a lot more about. And that I
yeah,
believe there's certain moves help specific areas of your body and moods and things like that. And obviously, it's really good for breathing, and we all know breathing exercises can just make a world of difference, especially in that anxious moment.
reading. I mean, I read a lot of sort of self-help books and, spiritual books, that I think might help.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's quite good though. Well, that leads me nicely onto my next question, which is there any resources that you'd like to share or suggest for other people
yeah,
around well-being?
I brought it to. So I recently, I mean, one thing I would do if I could afford more would be to have regular kind of counselling or therapy, but it's quite expensive, isn't it? Or you can, I mean, we can get it through our workplace as well, but only for a few weeks. But I do know some people who have regular counselling, and they say, if you get a good counsellor, there's nothing like that to really make a
Absolutely.
massive difference to how you feel about your life and everything. But anyway, um, this was recommended to me by a counsellor, and it's called "Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?" and it's by Dr. Julie Smith. Now, apparently, she does Instagram posts as well, so you can follow Dr. Julie Smith on Instagram, little snapshot thing. Apparently, she's a social media superstar and an experienced clinical psychologist. And what she does is she shares the ideas, insights, and techniques that she has seen change her clients' lives so that any reader can do the same.
Brilliant.
And so she says, this book will become your mental health toolbox, filled to the brim with different tools for different challenges, whatever it is you're facing: stress, anxiety, low mood, lack of confidence, self criticism, grief. Sometimes you might be feeling all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You will find ideas for processing how you're feeling, ways to get a new perspective, and strategies to help you cope. Because what I was saying to this person who's a counsellor is, it's all right saying, stop thinking about it, put that idea down, and I think, how do you do that?
Yep.
Because it's not that's not that easy, is it, to stop thinking in a certain way, or to so she suggests, Dr. Julie Smith suggests lots and lots of different techniques that you can use. So
Fantastic.
just one example, which I thought, oh gosh, that's an idea. She was saying creating a self-soothing box. I mean, I haven't actually done this yet, but create a self-soothing box. And she said one of the most powerful things that you can use in self-soothing is a scent, because our
Yeah.
nerves, it's directly to the brain. And I
Hmm.
do love lavender. So she was saying, for example, in that box, you could have an aromatherapy oil,
Yeah.
or something, or a perfume that you associate with someone, that you find comforting. It could be somebody else's perfume, or I don't know.
A brilliant
And
idea.
she suggests all sorts of other things that you could put in that box. So maybe some positive affirmations, maybe some music, because that's another thing that can be very uplifting. Um, so, I don't know, maybe having some reminders of what music you should listen to, and just create, put. So she gives you lots of different ideas of things that you could put into that box, and that when you feel in crisis, that you would go to that box and get help. Um,
Such a good idea.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely love that.
but she has lots of very, very practical ideas. Um, for example, the ones are like how to write all your ideas. If you're troubled because you're feeling burdened by lots of different things, which can sometimes happen, can't it, where we feel, life's hitting us from all angles.
Yeah.
She would say maybe write all those problems down, and then fold them up, if you like, and then look at them one at a time. So it's sort of externalizing what's going on in your brain, if you like, um, to deal with problems one at a time, and decide what can wait and what can take priority. Um, so yeah, she's got lots and lots and lots of very practical ideas and tips
Fantastic.
for all different situations. So
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Yeah. That's really, really good. Sounds like some really interesting ideas. I love the idea of that self-soothing box as well. It's so many things, just using all those senses to put things in there that are just sort of really linked to those calm, relaxing memories. And
Mm.
yeah, brilliant. Love it.
It could even be photographs, couldn't it? Like you say, or things that
Yeah,
you find, that remind you of a more of a fun time, or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you for that. Um, is there any wellbeing tools that you've never tried before and you'd quite like to give a go?
yeah, because I think that I would really benefit from journaling and writing
Oh
things
yeah,
down. Particularly, for example, the idea of writing down at the end of the day, things that have gone well that day, things that
yeah,
you're grateful for, and then maybe so at Christmas when I was experiencing that difficult time over the house and everything, and everything seemed to be going wrong. I remember reading somewhere, well, instead of like catastrophizing, which is where my brain tends to go to, I think our brains are problem solvers, aren't they? So tends to go to the problems. And I was thinking, oh no, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, these terrible things are all going to happen. And then I read somewhere, not in that book actually, somewhere else, to think, okay, write down what could go right. What you're hoping
absolutely.
might happen actually. How might this situation resolve itself in a positive way?
Yeah,
So I wrote all those things down. So, for example, well, I won't go into examples, it's all housey things. Um, but I wrote down what I was hoping would go right. And then actually all those things, the positive things, did actually happen.
fantastic.
Yeah, it did actually happen that way. So I was thinking, I can see the benefits of writing and journaling and the discipline of that and how it can help create a more positive sort of mindset. But I don't do it. And I think I need to maybe just start that routine, if you like.
Absolutely. Yeah, yes.
Perhaps in an
Just
evening.
switching that focus from the sort of negative to the positive, because quite often a lot of the negative stuff that we are coming up with never actually happens anyway. It's just our brain trying to predict the future, which it
Yeah,
can't do.
exactly.
So
And the problem,
yeah,
yeah, which may never happen.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's fantastic. And is there any advice that you could give anybody who's just starting off on their wellbeing journey?
That's an interesting one. I'd be because I think different things are helpful for different people, aren't they? I mean, maybe something like this book because this does cover all different things and not actually normalizes feeling having low mood. It said, I think the book starts off by saying everybody has low mood. I think people come to a well-being journal. So sorry, a well people come to a well-being journey because they've been through a hard time, and everybody. I think sometimes we think. I think when I was younger, I used to think some people didn't have hard times. I used to think, let's say, for example, if you were wealthy, you probably didn't have a hard time,
Yeah,
or if you were, I don't know, if you've been in a relationship for a long time with someone, you probably weren't having a hard time. Or I think we all imagine that everybody else is having, particularly with social media, that everybody else is having a good time. And it's just
yeah,
us that isn't having so good of a time. Where actually that this book, for example, normalizes it straight away by saying everybody has times of low mood, everybody has times, of
hmm,
stress and difficulty. Not everybody would react maybe with a panic attack. I think that the way we react can be particular to us. But I suppose I would be thinking maybe a general book like that, which normalizes, our feelings, if you like, and gives you practical tips of how to deal with them. And I suppose I've shared some of the things that kind of well, not they aren't just things that work just for me, are they? I think they're things that work commonly for a lot of people. But maybe in terms of exercise or physical activity,
yeah,
it's often that's often something that people might have personal preferences for. You
yeah,
know, like I've got friends who hate running, don't want to run, or can't run, can't run for reasons. But they love swimming, for example, or they love going for a walk, or even sitting in the garden, listening to the birds. If you're not somebody who's active or able to be active. Let's say if you were a wheelchair user, I think still just sitting outside, being outdoors in nature
Makes
um,
such a difference.
makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that fresh air and just being out hearing all those natural sounds. And again, it just brings you back to that present moment
Yeah.
and just enjoying what's around you and
And
stopping.
also realizing life's a lot bigger than your small problems at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I think you've given some really, really fantastic ideas there, and I hope it gets everybody thinking. And again, feel free to have a look into anything that Susan said, and I'll pop at the end of the video the book that she's mentioned and any of the apps and everything as well. So thank you for taking the time to do this. Thank you everybody for watching. And yeah, feel free to get in contact with any tips that you've got on your wellbeing journey. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.